Okay, so at this point, we should be pretty much done. If you have a look, I've changed all my colors to be the correct color. I've drawn all my shapes. The line thickness is super thin, and it should be ready to be cut out. Now, before we do that, there's a few things we're going to need to do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to do some last-minute checks to make sure that everything is as it should be. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to double check and make sure my lines are all the right colors. So I'm going to just quickly work my way through, looking at them visually, and just double checking that everything is the right color. They all seem fine to me. The next thing that I'm going to do is to make sure that I don't have any strange little objects lying around. So if I press Command A, it will select everything that's on the page and highlight it. Now, if you had, for example, a bizarre little offshoot that was left out here, when you press Command A, you can probably see that the bounding box is outside of that area. Okay, so you can see that there's something outside of where I was expecting, and it will help you to identify that there's something left behind that shouldn't be there. So if all that is selected is the stuff that you've drawn and you've got no little hidden little tiny lines, then that's a very good sign. The next thing you want to check is that up here it says 0.25. Sometimes we maybe missed a line and we didn't change its thickness, so we just want to do one last check and make sure that it says 0.25 at the top there. So far this is all looking good. Everything seems to be the right color. Everything seems to be the right line thickness. Next thing I'm going to check is that my whole drawing is inside the grey frame. Now you can probably tell that mine isn't. You see how the right hand side is over the grey bit? So I'm going to select all of this, okay, and I can either pick it up and move it just over to the right, or I can use the arrow keys to kind of shuffle it along, but that can be kind of time consuming. So that was my next check. That now appears to be entirely inside the grey frame, so I don't have to worry. That should be just fine. The next check I'm going to conduct is I'm going to just double check the holes. Sometimes we draw the holes early and then we rescale the whole drawing, and then the holes will change size. Now I can see that one is 6 millimeters. I can see that one is 6 millimeters. If I was to work all my way through, hopefully you can probably see before I've even got there that this one is not the right size. It's not 6 millimeters anymore. So I'm going to fix that before I go any further. 6 by 6. Okay, so now that is the correct size. One last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a last check to make sure that these things align. Now, when you select two circles, it puts a box around them. Can you see how this circle is at the bottom of the box and this one is at the top of the box? That shows me that they don't align at the moment. So somehow when that circle got changed in size, it got moved at the same time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just press the align tool, and I'm going to make sure that those are in a straight line. And now you can see that they're both at the same level. They match each other. That's much better. I'm going to do a last check to make sure that these align vertically, which they do. You can see how they're all in the center of the box. Okay, and I'm going to check these ones over here to make sure they're aligned. Now look, these ones are on the left and that one's on the right, so they don't align correctly anymore. So I'm going to need to move this one. Now if I select these three and if I choose the align tool, What that will do is it will move this one to the left and these two to the right, which you will realize creates a problem around here. These two are spaced in exactly the right place where I want them to be. So I don't want this one to move at all. So here's what I'm going to do for this time. I'm not going to choose the align tool. I'm going to select this shape. Just zoom in a little bit. I'm going to select this shape. I'm not going to resize it. I'm going to move it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check my green reference lines to make sure that it snaps into place directly above that other circle. If I zoom back out now, I should be in a situation where if I select those three circles, they should be, I should be able to tell that they're all in a straight line. Once I've done those checks, just to recap on the checks, I need to check my line colors, I need to check my line thicknesses, I need to check that my drawing is inside the gray zone, I need to check my holes to make sure they're the right size, and I need to check the holes to make sure they line up as they should do.